So Ron, you talk about your concern about, whether this movement has staying power, but also your concern that there may be some rash moves made quickly without giving it some time.
Yep.
Where are you on this, the notion of defunding police? A lot of people are supportive. Others are saying, well, this is just a rash move and don't do something so quickly. Obviously, the city of Portland has quickly moved forward to defund a couple of programs.
Well, my question is, okay, what next? You can defund the gang unit. What next in addressing an obvious gang problem? You can fund all the social programs you want, but when you wake up tomorrow morning, there's a gang problem. How are you going to address that? There have been problems.
Were you of the opinion that the gang, and I forgot the acronym, the Gang Enforcement Task Force, was a bad program?
I don't know, Mark. I haven't followed it for several years, so I really don't know. My only question is, when you decide to take resources from one program, how are you going to address the underlying concerns? The people were on the MAX and other transfer facilities for a reason. How are you going to address the underlying concerns? So no, I don't have enough information to say yay or nay on the specific programs that have been eliminated. But one thing to think about, $12 million, and that's the figure I've seen, that will be reallocated from the police department. That's a drop in the bucket. Okay, great. How are you going to address the underlying disparities that bedevil Black communities? How are you going to address unemployment? How are you going to address housing? How are you going to address wealth development, economic development, and a school system that has never worked for Black children, the health care? How are they going to be addressed? Those are the more important areas and items that I think about.
So Ron, is your, not to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like what you're saying is you're concerned that this move, while dramatic and splashy, will really have no consequence and is window dressing instead of real reform. Am I putting words in your mouth?
Yes, you are, quite well. Almost like I'm Howdy Doody. As a matter of fact, for those who don't know anything about Howdy Doody, you can Google him now. No, I don't think it's window dressing. I think it's a sincere effort on the part of the mayor to address a raging problem. I think it's a sincere effort. He would probably say, yes, this is one step. It's not the last step, and we want to get other bureaus and other funding sources to do something similar. I'm certain his reaction would be similar to that. I'm just saying that unless you have that, unless you have massive reinvestments in the Black community and in reforming institutions that negatively impact them, it will not move the needle. And I think he's smart enough to understand that. So what comes next will be far more important, because $12 million is not going to make a big difference in this community or any other community. If in fact that is a first step in getting other institutions to say, yes, let's look at what we have and what we do, and how can we alter the way in which we allocate resources so that we can have a meaningful impact. And one of them that gets off the hook, which surprises me, is the whole banking system. Banks have contributed very little, some not at all, to economic development in the Black community, but they certainly were very involved in gentrification. Certainly. They made a buku amount of money off of gentrification. Those loans that they gave out to white individuals, businesses, so they could set up in what the Albina area, they make a lot of money. They were able to redline the area, property values went down, people came in with that ass pocket full of money, swooped them up, gave them more money to develop, and they have grown even wealthier off of redlining, the sin of redlining. And no one publicly holds them responsible and say, okay, this is how you help destroy a community. Now where's the money? Where's the banking Marshall Fund for the Black community? That would be my question. Where is the banking Marshall Fund for the Black community? And throw in insurance companies, title companies, who all got rich off of this, richer. Where is the Marshall Fund for the Black community? And that's the question I would ask, not giving a couple of $1 million here, a couple of $1 million there as chicken feed. They made billions off it. The Black community lost billions in potential wealth with the destruction of housing in our community. If Black people had been allowed to maintain, control those houses, pass down that wealth from generation to generation, billions of dollars have been lost just here in Portland.